Right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with our state all-purpose misdemeanor calendar for today, March 14th, 2024. This is the 9 a.m. misdemeanor calendar in which individual cases have already been accused, bonds have been set, and we are going to determine how they are going to move forward. Certain cases may enter into a negotiated or non-negotiated plea hearing. Other matters may be an arraignment to enter a not guilty plea and further notice the case for trial. Other issues could be bond modifications, bench warrants, as well as probation revocations. So let me see, is the courtroom available? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are witnesses or alleged victims, please mute your screen and stop your video until you hear the case that you're interested in is a call. So Ms. Cleveland and Ms. Johnson, please go ahead and mute your screen and stop your video until you hear the person who you're interested in listening to, his or her case called. I do see someone from Marietta Annex. I'm just waiting for the public defender and the prosecutors to also be available. So please hold.
Your Honor, state's here.
Oh, good morning, Ms. Falk. All right.
Good morning, Your Honor.
The gentleman at the Marietta Annex, may I have his name?
Jose Garcia.
And Mr. Garcia, have you spoken to one of our public defense attorneys?
I've spoken to two of them in the past, and I was informed by the second one that I have a new one because I'm in your courtroom now. So, I haven't spoken to them.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Your Honor, did you get the most recent add-on calendar? It would have 10 positions instead of 7.
Yes, I think, yeah, that's why I was a little late. I was just trying to print out everything.
Totally understand. I just wanted to make sure you had the most recent one.
You said 10 items instead of.
Should have, yes, 10 positions.
The last case is Gerald Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, got the right one. Thank you. All right. Let's see now. Let me find out what's going on at Fulton County Jail courtroom. If you'll give me a moment. Miss Grace.
Hi, good morning, Judge. We're working on it. We're trying to call right now to find out why they're not on the
Okay,
line.
then I won't call in either, but y'all are calling in. All right, folks, we're just going to be in a brief recess until the courtroom 2 at the Fulton County Jail comes online. That's where all the counsel and so forth are. Mr. Garcia, I know you're already on Zoom. Please remember your right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. And if you do have a right to an attorney, if you cannot afford one of our public defense counsel will be addressing you as soon as they come online. Okay, so please hold. Thank you. Is that Officer Norris? Deputy, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Do you have the whereabouts of Mr. McLean and I think Miss Vigiletti?
Held me down.
Oh dear.
Not arrived yet.
Your Honor, I actually have PD McLean on the phone. He said when he came into the courtroom, Zoom wasn't on, no one was there. So I told him everyone is in there now, so he's about to head in there, but he wanted to ask me a question about a case.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good morning, officer. Do we have everyone in the courtroom?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, we're missing, not missing, but, I think, Mr. Player. He's either outsourced or, got released.
So we're gonna.
Okay. And that was
He's on.
Blair, Blair.
Okay, give us a second, Judge, so we can figure Mr.
Oh,
Smith.
okay, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, folks, just give us a few, and as soon as the PDs are ready. Mr. McLean, is this a good time?
We're trying to get his clients lined up for them to go ahead and get started.
Good morning, Your Honor. Yeah, we
Good morning.
have, yes, we have quite a few that are negotiated pleas, and I'll check and see which ones are in the courtroom.
I have a gentleman from the Marietta Annex, Mr. Jose Garcia, is that correct?
Right, we need to speak with him. We were unable to interview him yesterday, so if we could hold that, Your Honor.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready to go into a breakout with Marietta Annex. I don't want to keep them holding too long.
Okay, if I go over to a medical records window, I can very well, I would have to do that regardless of how I zoom in. I can zoom in now, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Garcia, is there a deputy seated next to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, deputy, eventually, or very shortly, you will see a message on your screen
Yes, ma'am.
to join a breakout session so that the defendant may speak with the public defense attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Just please hold. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Champion, which cases are going to require a Spanish interpreter? I see Ms. Chansey has joined us.
One second, Your Honor, let me check.
Ms. Chansey, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And do you know which case you're here?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will find out. No problem.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. McLean has joined the Zoom. Mr. McLean, just give us the thumbs up when you're ready to start your video and be placed in a breakout.
Ms. Champion, I found it. It's position number 21 and 22, Judge, that
Thank
needs
you.
to, yes.
21 and 22. All right. J. Rowe Vasquez. Same position. Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, can you hear us? On your phone, on your phone device, on your phone device, or
No,
whatever
but
device you're
yes.
using. All right, I can see your shoulder on
Hey,
your, right? Yeah. Do you need to be in a separate location for better Wi-Fi?
sure, I'm going to the window.
Mm. You would have to relocate because audio is quite difficult on your device.
Muted. Okay. We do have to go to the window in the next room to do that, Your Honor. I'll go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who else am I waiting on from the Public Defender's Office?
I believe Mrs. Vigiletti will be out sick today and we'll cover her cases.
Okay, and who's assisting you?
I'm not sure I have anybody to assist me at this time.
Okay, so you're it. All right, sir. If you
Yeah.
want to go ahead and do your breakout, please make it very brief. Thank you.
Thank you.
This second row, y'all can slide down and help you.
All right, this is an announcement for individuals who are witnesses or alleged victims. If you are showing up in order to observe a case because you have an interested party at the jail, please stop your video until you hear your case called. Miss Grace, I think this person, Wing Tech, is driving. Could you please remove her from the Zoom until she's parked? Oh boy, okay. Mr. McLean, can we test your audio? Oh, do we lose him too?
He's in the breakout room, Judge.
He is? Okay, thank you. All right, for the individuals who have appeared at the present time through Courtroom 2 and Fulton County ACDC, I'm just going to give you a brief introduction. My name is Judge Lal, and this is going to be the state all-purpose calendar for March 14th, 2024. This is a list of cases in which individuals have been recently arrested. Their cases have been accused. First appearance have already been held and bonds have been set. Today, we're going to get a status of the cases to see how the defendants would like to move forward in terms of whether they would like to consider a plea offer from the prosecution or whether they would like to enter a not guilty plea and have the case arraigned and further notice for trial. Some other matters I may be addressing are bond modifications as well as probation revocation issues. And I don't believe I have any bench warrant matters to address this morning. Later this morning, we will be addressing another set of cases in a breakout session. If you're a defendant who is currently on Zoom, please remember that you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. These proceedings are being recorded and live streamed, so anything you choose to say, your statements will not only be documented forever, but they will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we will appoint counsel to represent you from the Public Defender's Office or from our conflict defense list. As you can see, presently we are a little short-staffed on public defense counsel. So as soon as Mr. Michael McLean's available, we will proceed with the cases in courtroom 2 and at ACDC. Deputy Milton, are you managing the room at ACDC?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Deputy Milton. Which cases do you have at ACDC right now?
I have Mr. Vasquez and Mr. Gay. Senor Vasquez needs the interpreter.
The interpreter is available.
Right.
Um,
When I
and-
finish with these two gentlemen, I'll go get the ladies.
Okay, we are going to be running a little slow today. We are a little short staff on public defense attorneys. So could you mute the screen right now until Mr. McLean's available?
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you. All right, Ms. Chansey, I do apologize for the delay. The others, please, I do apologize, but we are going to resume as soon as the public defense attorney is available.
I understand, no problem, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Ms. Falk, did you have any announcements? Or does the jail have any announcements on any of the positions on the calendar, whether it's going to be reset or individuals have been released?
Let's see. So on the main SAP calendar, I know there have been some people released. Let me go back and double check.
It's position number 15, Judge, that's been released.
15, that would be Lionel Nephew.
Yes,
Okay, Lionel Nephew is released and further notice for trial.
yes. And
Okay.
position number 1,
Evan,
Doug-
Brendan Evans.
yes, Mr. Douglas sent in his conflict. I entered it and he asked for the case to be reset to 328.
All right, Brendan Evans is reset to 328. Who was the attorney?
Chuck Douglas.
Chuck Douglas, okay.
And sorry, Miss Grace, do you mind adding that 24 CR 000514J case that I added on the calendar? When this case is, I don't know what date it's reset for, but whenever it's reset, can you add that as well?
Yes, I've already taken care of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And do we have a
Mhm.
reset date or no?
Yeah, for Brandon Evans, it's 328.
328. Okay, thank you so much.
You're
Your
welcome.
Honor, Brandon Evans is in quorum too. If you guys can repeat that so he can hear you.
All right, Brendan Evans, are you in the courtroom?
Right now.
Mr. Evans, good morning. My name is Judge Law, and your attorney is Chuck Douglas.
Correct.
You've also been advised of your right to remain silent. Mr. Douglas has submitted a conflict notice. In other words, he's got a prior proceeding. He won't be able to attend this proceeding. So your case is going to be reset to March 28th at 9 a.m. To address not only this present case, 22 CR 6601J, but the other case number. And Ms. Falk, could you repeat that?
The other case number, Your Honor, is, let me go back up, is 24 CR 000514J. The defendant is charged with fleeing and eluding in that case.
All right, Mr. Evans, please contact and consult with your attorney as to how to proceed on March 28th. That's it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, officer. You may mute courtroom 2. Any other announcements, Ms. Falk?
There is one on the competency calendar, Your Honor. That is going to be Joe Loving, I believe. Let me just double check. Right. The state is going to issue a null pros on that case.
All right.
And so that's the only state announcement.
Good morning, Your Honor and Ms. Falk. How are y'all doing?
Fine, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Bartel. Will
Good,
you be assisting today?
Well, Your Honor, I was not aware that Ms. Vigilante is going to be out, so I'm just prepared to handle the competency calendar. But thank you, Ms. Falk, for that announcement. And Judge, the rest of the cases on that calendar are just announcements. If the court wants to proceed, I'm actually ready to make all the announcements on that case. If that will help move things along.
Val, I appreciate that. Miss Grace, could you please, Mr. Bartel, are you going to join us from your device?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll need to move to another room and plug it in there. But
Okay, as soon as you come on, we'll move into a breakout session for the 11 a.m. calendar. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, courtroom 2, we can go ahead and mute the screen, please. And Miss Grace, if you could be prepared to put me, Miss Falk, and Mr. Bartel into a breakout as soon as he comes on.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, in the meantime, could you send a message to Mr. McLean that he needs to be back in courtroom 2 very, very soon? He has about 10 minutes. Mr. McLean, are you still needing to talk to anyone?
There probably are, there's probably a couple of people, Your Honor, but I can announce on Garcia now.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Garcia is not guilty. I believe his bond situation is probably moot, because I don't think this is holding him in. He believes that it is not. We can double check that, but assuming that he is correct, bond is moot. He could waive his presence and his arraignment. He understands what he's charged with. He knows that it will go to trial, and he is not guilty, Your Honor. So I don't think this is holding him in, and I think bond is moot. So I could do a waiver with his permission.
Right. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Jose Luis Garcia is accused of criminal trespass and family violence and case 21 CR 1510Y from March 3rd, 2020 in Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Garcia, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney presently is Mr. Michael McLean. Based on Mr. McLean's information, you are planning to enter a not guilty plea to this misdemeanor case. Upon acceptance of that plea, the case will be further noticed for trial, at the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charge against you and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If the state does prevail and carry its burden of proof, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, sir. Your case has been arraigned and it will be scheduled for trial. Sorry, I don't know that. That concludes the case with Mr. Garcia. Thank you, Deputy at Annex.
Anytime, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. McLean, we can go ahead and address Mr. Vasquez because I have a Spanish interpreter online. Mr. Bartel, please hold and I'll be with you all shortly while Mr. McLean then talks to his other clients.
Okay, will do, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Vasquez and Mr. McLean, have you had a chance to speak to Mr. Vasquez? He's at the Fulton County ACDC, positions 21 and 22.
Your Honor, my colleague, Ms. Vigiletti, has spoken with him. I have not. There apparently was a counter offer and I wrote that down and the state, I believe, has responded to that.
So
If the state could please bring us up to date on any communication of the counter offer. Let's see.
all right, first of all, Deputy Milton, if you could unmute Fulton ACDC, please. Okay, thank you. Ms. Chansey, do you solemnly swear and affirm the translation you provide will be a true and accurate translation with no changes and embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, this is Mr. Jayro, Jayro Vasquez Lara, in which he has two cases before us.
Este es el señor Jairo Vázquez Lara, que tiene dos casos pendientes.
The first case is 21 CR 5224Y.
El primer caso es el 21 CR 5224Y.
In which he has 7 misdemeanor charges stemming from a traffic incident.
Y en donde tiene 7 cargos de un delito menor relacionado con el tránsito.
Including reckless driving and driving while license suspended or revoked.
Incluido el manejo negligente y por licencia revocada o cancelada.
The second case is 21 CR 6741Y.
Y el segundo caso es 21 CR 6741Y.
In which he's charged with DUI under the influence of alcohol and driving while license suspended or revoked.
Y tiene dos casos por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol y por manejar con una licencia suspendida o revocada.
And this is from a November 20th, 2021 incident.
Y esto es el incidente tiene fecha el 21 de noviembre del 2021.
Right? This Miss Folk, I guess Mr. McLean is asking what is the state's counteroffer to his global recommendation.
Yes,
Creo que lo que quiere el señor McLean es la oferta a toda esta caso global, situación completo.
Yes, Your Honor. The state's global offer is 24 months probation.
La recomendación global de la Fiscalía, su señoría, es 24 meses bajo probatoria.
Serve 358 days.
Servir 358 días.
Credit for time served 179 days.
Crédito por tiempo servido por un total de 179 días.
That is from November 21st, 2021 to November 24th, 2021.
Desde el día, I'm sorry, 11/21st,
2021 to
till
November 24th, 2021.
thank you. desde el 21 de noviembre del 2021 hasta el 24 de noviembre del 2021.
And March 9th, 2023 to August 29th, 2023.
Desde también el 9 de marzo del 2023 al 29 de agosto del 2023.
$1,300 in fines,
$1,300 de multas,
DUI risk reduction, victim impact panel, and alcohol drug evaluation and treatment.
Tomar el curso de manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, también presenciar un panel de las víctimas de conductores ebrios y también recibir una evaluación y tratamiento por drogas o alcohol.
40 hours of community service and license suspended for 1 year.
40 horas de trabajo a favor de la comunidad y la suspensión de la licencia por 1 año.
That is all from the state, Your Honor.
Esto es todo de la Fiscalía, Su Señoría.
Mr. McLean, would you need to speak with Mr. Vasquez?
I would, Your Honor, with the interpreter, I would need to speak with him, and I could do that also in a Zoom breakout.
And
I'm
PD
gonna-
McLean, just to clarify, we did reduce the time by 12 months and reduce the fines by $500.
I
as
know, I did
counter
notice
offer to the
that.
counter offer.
All right, I think,
Quisiera agregar que se redujo el tiempo a servir por 12 meses menos y $500 menos las multas.
I did notice that. So in that regard, on number 21, was count number 4 going to be dismissed or simply the fine gone?
Con respecto, me di cuenta de eso, pero en el cargo 21, en el caso, el cargo número 4 va a ser desestimado.
I connected all of his jail time to count 4 so that he would have no fine.
Yo
Understood.
puse todo el tiempo de encarcelamiento en el cargo 4.
And of the 7 counts in number 21 and the 2 counts in number 22, which count deleted the 12 months to go from 36 to 24?
Y si pudiese describir bien en el cargo 7 del 2021 con los del 2023, ¿cuál sería?
Count 5,
Very
Sería
good.
el cargo 5
reckless driving.
por manejo negligente.
So with count 4, delete 500, and on count 5, delete consecutive probation, but keep it as concurrent or delete it entirely.
También el cargo 4 serían deducir los 500 y por el cargo 5 sería para cumplirse de manera consecutiva con la probatoria o cómo sería.
I had count 5 merge with count 4 in order to delete it entirely.
Very good. I'll
He
explain that.
juntado el cargo 5 con el 4 para poder deshacerme de del resto completamente.
all right, Mr. McLean, are you going to go back on your device to join the breakout?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm asking my device to sign back on, and I will be at that window in the next room.
Wonder device, thank you.
Ok, señor, ahora el abogado se va a reunir para que pueda hablar con usted, con mi ayuda.
Mr. Bartel, are you still with us? Oh dear, okay, he's left too. Oh, he is, okay. Miss Grace.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm still here.
All right, Miss Grace, could you place Mr. Bartel, Ms. Falk, and myself in a breakout? And when Mr. McLean comes back on to place AC/DC, Ms. Chansey, and Mr. McLean in a separate breakout. So 2 breakout rooms. Thank you.
ACDC, you would need to join the breakout room, please.
I'm looking for it. I didn't see it popped up. I don't see the blue box. Thank you. Attorney McLean, are you finished with the breakout session?
Not entirely, but I might have to, ask the court for a reset. And so I'm ready to,
All right, so I will go and let Ms. Chauncey know so she can come out.
McLean. Do you need to talk to Breon Stewart?
I do. Yes.
Okay, you might need to do a breakout then, because we'll be sitting here waiting for a while.
Okay, on Stewart. let's see. Yeah, that's an 11 extra day offer. I'm sorry, wrong. That's the add-on. I went to the wrong page, sorry, hold on.
Yeah, I think this is the add-on number 4, position number 4 add-on.
Yeah, I jumped straight to number 4 on the other. Let's see if I can find my add-on. Yeah, here's the add-on. That's a time served plea. Can he call on the phone here, which is 612?
Nope, I don't have a phone, Zoom only.
Madam Interpreter,
Yes, sir.
I believe that I discussed this with a colleague when the Zoom went dead. We're trying to get juice back up and have sufficient battery power. However, I think this is going to be something that needs to be discussed with them at some length.
I see.
And I think that we're going to have to ask for a Tuesday reset of 5 days. So it's coming.
All right.
And I don't see any way out of doing that.
I understand. I will explain that to Mr. Lara. Señor, el abogado McLean acaba de decir que él cree que esta explicación va a llevar un tiempo considerablemente largo para hablarlo con usted. Entonces tuvieron que hacer una cita hasta el próximo martes para poder tener tiempo de hablar esto con usted y poder explicarlo bien. ¿Me entiende?
Is there anything besides this case holding you in jail?
Can you repeat that, sir, please, for the interpreter?
This is the only case holding you in jail, correct?
Okay, they have to turn on the microphone for him. Señor, ¿este es el único caso por el cual usted está en la cárcel?
No creo que tengo otro caso. No
I,
sé,
ha-
porque no tuve corte. Tenía corte el miércoles y no vinieron por mí.
I have another case, so I don't know. I had a court day on Wednesday, but they didn't come from me.
Do
So
you
I
know,
don't know.
what is the name of the attorney on the other case?
¿Sabe el nombre del abogado en ese otro caso?
Sí,
Yes.
pero
What-
¿Cómo es?
ah, Collins,
¿Me lo deletrea, por favor?
Collins.
Collins.
Latrivia Collins.
What?
He's speaking of an attorney in our office named Latrivia Collins.
Oh, thank you. El primer nombre es Letrivia.
No recuerdo.
¿No está ahí el primer nombre?
No.
The answer was, I don't remember. The interpreter asked, is it not showing there? And the answer was no, sir.
Right, but he remembers that he met with attorney Collins.
¿Usted se acuerda haber hablado con el abogado o abogada Collins?
Sí, tengo su número de teléfono.
I have her phone. I have the phone number. Yes, I do.
I do too. So on the case that you have with Miss Collins, is that case holding you in jail?
Entonces, el caso que usted tiene con la señorita o señor Collins es la que lo tiene ahí en la cárcel.
Correcto.
Correct.
Okay, I do need to reset this case in misdemeanor court
Okay.
for 5 days till next Tuesday, which will give us time to fully discuss this with you with no harm to your freedom.
Entonces, necesito yo mantener este caso, necesito tiempo por 5 días hasta el próximo martes para que no le afecte a usted su libertad o circunstancias. Necesito llevar el caso al Tribunal de Delito Menor.
Between now and this coming Tuesday, 5 days from now, either I, with a Spanish-speaking investigator, or Ms. Vigiletti with a Spanish-speaking investigator, or a Spanish-speaking lawyer will come to the jail and speak with you where you are.
Entonces yo de ahora al martes tendré 5 días a partir de hoy, porque ahora voy a traer un investigador que hable español o un abogado o abogada que hable español para venir y conversar con usted en la cárcel.
So somebody will see you between now and Tuesday, and this will not cost you any extra jail days.
Entonces alguien vendrá a hablar con usted en la cárcel y no le va a costar días extras.
Compared to if we were completely finished for today and going forward.
En lugar de que si tomamos una decisión hoy para continuar el caso de otra manera.
So do you understand that idea and want to go along with that?
¿Usted entiende, señor, eso y cómo continuar?
Sí.
Yes.
Very good. I will ask the court to reset this case 5 days for this coming Tuesday at 9.
Entonces, muy bien, voy a pedir que continúe el caso a la jueza por 5 días.
¿Cuándo tendríamos la otra corte?
So when will it be the next day, the next court day?
Tuesday, March 19th.
El martes 19 de marzo.
Okay.
Okay.
McLean, are you gonna do a breakout with, Stuart or not?
We are. Hi, Deputy Milton.
No.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, Deputy Blunt.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're in medical, right?
No, Officer Blunt is in medical.
Okay. Officer Blunt, Deputy Blunt. Can you hear me?
Speak up, I can't hear you. Just speak up a little louder.
There we go. On Mr. Stewart, we might have to put him to the end of the calendar so that we have enough juice to actually do a breakout. But in the meantime, I noticed that number 4, hang on just. This is kind of, this is available publicly. What they're offering him is.
Okay, Mr.
On
McLean,
Yeah.
are we ready to move forward with Mr. Vasquez? I was
Yes.
waiting on Mr. Murphy to appear. Is Mr. Murphy on the Zoom? Okay, he's not here. Okay. Let's move on to position 21 and 22. And
Posición 21 y 22.
I have an announcement, a request on 20 and 21 and 22.
okay,
And
let's do Mr. Vasquez first, since we have our interpreter.
Vamos
Yes,
a tratar al señor Vázquez primero, ya que tenemos intérprete.
How would he like to move forward with the plea?
¿Cómo quiere continuar con la declaración?
Your Honor, today, because something else is holding him, there will be no harm in our resetting this 5 days till this coming Tuesday, and he is in agreement.
Su señoría, debido a que hay algo que lo está deteniendo en este caso, no va a causar no va a afectar de manera negativa el tener una nueva cita en 5 días.
I can
Y
reset.
él está de acuerdo.
I can reset him to March 21st, next Thursday.
That will work as well, Your Honor.
Puedo darle una fecha para el 21 de marzo, el próximo jueves. Sí, eso va a estar bien, su señoría.
7 days, not 5 days, Mr. Vasquez.
Señor Vázquez, son 7 días en lugar de 5.
We will come see you in the meantime.
Mientras tanto, vamos a venir a verlo.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vasquez.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your
next-
Honor,
Your Honor, may I be dismissed?
Do we need a Spanish interpreter for any other cases?
Would you like me to make an announcement?
Go ahead and let's check with courtroom 2. Go ahead, Ms. Chansey.
¿Hay alguien que necesite la ayuda de un intérprete en español para hablar con la señora jueza? Por favor, salude, háganos saber. Prenda su cámara.
I don't see anyone. Would that be correct, Ms. Chansey?
Yes, I don't see it either. Thank you,
All right.
Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Have a
Apologize.
good day.
You too.
Your Honor, by coincidence, number 20 is precisely that same request, which would be 7-day reset for Mr. Tony.
Okay. This is March 21st, and is he in the courtroom with you?
Yes.
And Deputy Milton, oh, she's walking away. Sorry. Oh.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, so sorry. Could you have Mr. Gay up at the seat and just leave it on unmute? All right, thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
I'm getting her steps in. Okay. All right, this is State versus Eugene Tony, seated next to Michael McLean. Mr. Tony, with regards to your case, you have consulted with counsel, and I'm going to address your case next Thursday at 9 a.m. Thank you. All right, we have Mr. McLean. We are addressing this case at the ACDC location. And let me pull it up, please. Okay, this is position 3. On the SAP calendar, Tiberius Gay, accused of criminal trespass and damage to property, case number 23 CR 8194D. Mr. McLean, how are you proceeding with this case?
I see the offer, Your Honor, and Ms. Vigiletti spoke with him. I understand that to be a not guilty. And if it is not holding him in jail, then there won't be any point in my asking to address bond.
Right. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
Attorney Olivetti, excuse me, Olivetti, I'm sorry. That was
Vigiletti.
That's Vigiletti because the other is a typewriter. Your Honor, I'm sure we have a copy of it and can provide a copy of the accusation to him. If that's okay with him,
Okay.
we'll
You
do
can,
that.
I can read the accusation, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Mr. Tiberius Gay, I believe that you will be entering a not guilty plea, so if you will please pay attention. In this particular case, you are accused of a misdemeanor offense, criminal trespass, causing damage to property, in which the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, did accuse you that on November 26, 2023 in Fulton County, Georgia, you were charged with the offense of criminal trespass causing damage to property. The allegation being that you intentionally damaged the property of Shekinah Gay, to wit, a wall, a door, and TV without his or her consent, and the damage was $500 or less in violation of Georgia law, section 16-7-21. That's the charge that's been brought against you. You are presumed innocent of this charge, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of trial, the prosecutor would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecution does prevail, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not good.
All right. Your case is going to be further noticed for trial. He presently has a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. I understand there is another case holding him. So once he resolves once he's released on the other matter, he may be released on this signature bond through pretrial, in which he's required to have no further violent contact with Shekinah Gay and to report to pretrial once a month. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gay. And Deputy Milton, we may mute ACDC, or Miss Grace, you can mute ACDC. And
Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes.
For as position on the competency calendar, Kalisa McCrary.
Yes, can we have her brought over?
Yes, I will bring her. What about on the competency calendar? Position 9, Miss Williams. And I have Miss Jones, position 9 on the SAP, position 9 through 13, Miss Jones. Do I need to bring her?
Okay.
I would think not.
And ACDC Don Shea, if you're talking about Don Shea Williams,
Yes,
the state
yes.
did enter a null pros in that case, so you don't need to bring her.
Okay, her case been null press.
Yes.
Yes.
And who else were you asking about?
Okay,
On the competency?
Shamara Jones, she's on the SAP for between positions 9 through 13.
Mr. McLean, do you need her brought over?
I can't think of a reason why she would need to be brought over, no.
All right. Position 9 to 13. Just give me a moment. The reason being because she's got a global offer. Unless she has to go.
Your Honor, it looks like on the announcements I was provided by the PD's office, that says reset competency calendar.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I am going to reset her to March 21st at 11 a.m.
Okay, so
And that's going to be 9 through
13.
13, yeah.
And position 3 under competency, Kalisa McCrary.
Yes, we need her, please, if you can have her,
Okay.
because Miss McLeod will address her after 11 o'clock.
Okay, perfect. I will have her here and position add-on 1 Fields, Shonda Fields. What about her? She's add-on 1.
We'll need her.
Need?
Yeah, she needs to be brought over.
Okay, not a problem. We'll take care of it at 11 o'clock.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Miss Champion, we can mute ACDC or Miss Grace, please. All right. Medical, is medical dropped out?
No, Mrs. Stewart is in courtroom 2.
Okay. Next case, courtroom 2, please.
Mr. McLean has to speak to a few of them before proceeding.
All right. Is there anyone, Mr. McLean, is there anyone that is ready to take a plea with whom you've spoken?
Is Mr. Hunt here? Mr. Hunt? Zatar Hunt, number 4 and 5 is ready, Your Honor, and he's here. Also, Mr. Ivy. He's here, that's a bond request. That's number 6 and 7.
All right. Let's start with Zatar Hunt. He is positions 4 and 5 on the SAP calendar. Zatar Hunt's position 4 case number is 21 CR 7396E, in which he's accused of battery, family violence from September 30th, 2021. Position 5 is a bench warrant matter 24 FTA 205 from January 3rd, 2024. Mr. Hunt, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation on this case is 12 months probation, serve 90 days, credit for time served. I believe it was 34 days. That's going to be from December 7th, 2021 to December 23rd, 2021, and February 27th, 2024 until today. Balance will be probated, family violence intervention program, 40 hours of community service, no further contact with Ms. Portia, Porsha Weems, WEEMS, and no firearms. The state has agreed to null pros position 5 upon the plea up to position 4. We would ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea, and we would like to sound from Ms. Portia Weems.
For the purposes of the plea, we certainly do stipulate. Thank you.
Ms. Portia Weems? All right. Mr. Hunt, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you understood everything that's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, with respect to your case?
Yes, ma'am. I have one question though.
Go
What
ahead.
is the question? Can we mute for a moment?
You may.
Thank you. What is your question?
Oh, yes, not muted. Okay, that's good.
He's ready. It was just a question about, he was wondering if he was gonna hear detail about where to report on probation.
Okay. And are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly, Mr. Hunt?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to this charge, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to be able to have an attorney help you in a court of law, to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery, family violence?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 90 days, credit for time served 34 days, which means you have additional time to serve at the jail, which would be
11 days, Your Honor.
11 days, extra 11 days. Okay. After you have completed the additional 11 days, Mr. Hunt, you'll be released, and then you must report to the probation office on the first immediate business day, which will be Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. Do you understand?
Could the court repeat the last part, Your Honor?
Mr. Hunt, after you finish the 11 additional days at the jail, you'll be released. When you are released, you must report to probation on the first available business day, which will be Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday.
Yes, Your Honor.
You must report to probation on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, whichever comes first after your release, and you must report before 3 p.m. on that day. Do you follow me, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete a domestic violence intervention program, and you must enroll in that program within 60 days of being released. You must also complete 40 hours of voluntary community service work at any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school. You must begin your community service within 30 days of being released and complete at least 5 hours per month. You're to have no contact with Portia Weems. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, and you're definitely not to possess or own any firearms. Report to probation every month. Thank you. His bench warrant is null prost, his FTA, which will cancel out his next court date, which is May 8th, 2024.
Your Honor, he is also on a position on the probation revocation calendar today.
Well, let's go ahead and address that, because I just canceled his next court date of May 8th. That was on the bench warrant, which has now been null prost. So, who do we have from probation?
Your Honor, I'm present. I just walked away from my phone. What position is this defendant?
This is positions 1 and 2, Zatar Hunt. All right. Mrs. Allen, may I place you on the oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Hunt has just entered a plea on a new case in which he will be reporting to probation in about 2 weeks. But meanwhile, we are going to address the revocation, probation revocation matter in his older case, 22 CR 003623E, in which he was convicted of battery, and the probation violation case number is 24 PV 290. Mrs. Allen, why is the state seeking a revocation, and what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, the defendant failed to complete his 40 hours of community service. He failed to provide documentation of his anger management classes. He missed his compliance hearing before Judge Morrison on October the 18th, 2023. He's never reported to probation. It's 35 days remaining on his case. At this time, probation does recommend for his balance to be revoked.
Let me see, how many days has he been in jail? This is not good news, Mr. McLean, especially when I just sentenced him to probation.
Well, we had quite a discussion, Your Honor. And compared to last week, we have a great understanding of exactly what is going to happen with this probation. He's going to do this one correctly.
I can have him serve out the rest of the 35 days just to make him understand that if he doesn't report to probation on the case I just sentenced him on, because like I said, I just sentenced him to probation,
Right.
and he's nodding his head, and he's already been previously sentenced, and he doesn't bother to report. Yes, Mr. Hunt, I am this close to revoking the plea in that case as well.
So, Your Honor,
Let's go ahead and hear why he didn't report to probation, didn't complete anger management, didn't do anything.
go ahead, Mr. Hunt, explain to the judge.
Well, Your Honor, on my behalf, I was in a living situation that was currently, I was staying in a hotel. the same hotel that I'm staying in now is my job. The city sent a letter out to my job, but I never received no letter or anything stating that I'm supposed to be reporting, Your Honor. I have no problem reporting. I have no problem with serving community service. I have no problem with that.
What letter were you waiting on?
My letter to when I'm supposed to come to court and my letter when I'm supposed to go.
No, sir, we are not talking about your failure to appear. We are talking about your failure to report to probation when you were sentenced.
I never had a paper or where I'm supposed to report it
No,
yet.
that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Right. Now, he does have that job at the hotel. He works for the hotel that provides him housing, Your Honor. So there is a level of stability there, which is encouraging.
All right, so he was sentenced on June 23rd, 2022. And
And Your Honor, as I'm reviewing the case, he was before the court for a SAP for a probation violation. It looks like July 18th. Well, he was ordered to start anger management within a week upon release if defendant missed one appointment set court date. Failure to comply with court order, defendant probation may be revoked.
he knew exactly what he was doing. Come on, Mr. McLean. You're telling me to let him go on probation again after he doesn't comply?
He's determined to do this one correctly. He realized exactly what he messed up on now. He knows that it's his obligation to keep up with probation, not their obligation to keep up with him.
So at the plea back in 2022, he promised to go on probation. And in front of Judge Morrow, he promised to get back on track and go to probation. And now this is strike number 3.
Yeah.
And he's still telling the court he promises to do what he's supposed to do.
Correct.
Yes.
What has changed?
I didn't cuss him out, but Your Honor, we had a detailed discussion as to his obligations. Perhaps he never had that before.
So he's going to serve 11 extra days on the case that he just finished.
Yes.
He's going to serve 35 more days consecutive. I'm revoking his probation. He's going to serve 35 days consecutive to the 11 days.
Understood. That will be a total of 46, and then it will be released.
Correct. And Mr. Hunt, that is what happens when you don't comply with a court order to complete your sentence.
But Your Honor,
Once you finish the 46 days, you then report to probation. And if you don't report to probation, things like this happen.
46 days, then do the probation correctly. It's your obligation to keep up with that.
may I speak, Your Honor?
You have absolute right to speak. You have absolute right to remain silent. Entirely up to you.
Your Honor, I'm not a bad person, Your Honor. I know what I'm supposed to do, Your Honor. At the time, Your Honor, if my living arrangement was not appropriate. I'm not gonna say it's not appropriate, but I didn't have nowhere to stay at the time, Your Honor. But now my living arrangement has been certified that my job placement is where my living arrangement is. I've been keeping the same job, Your Honor.
Understood. I understand that, Mr. Hunt, but
I will do what I'm supposed to do, Your Honor.
and you are going to do it after you pay your debt, a debt that you have not paid off. You have avoided it since June of 2022, and I'm not going to let you avoid it anymore.
I wasn't trying to avoid it, Your Honor.
You were.
I wasn't, Your Honor. I'm not gonna
All right.
argue.
I'm not going to argue with you, sir. That
No,
is
no,
my rule. That is my ruling.
So I have to serve 46, Your Honor?
Correct.
You have to serve the 11 days on this new case that you've just been sentenced. And then you have to serve the 35 days on the revoking the probation, revocation of probation, to finish out your sentence in the 22 CR 3623E case.
So my release date is what, Your Honor?
I can calculate that for him, Your Honor. It's just a matter of looking at a calendar.
Thank you, Mr. McLean.
Thank you.
All right, I'm granting the state's recommendation to revoke probation, serve out the remainder of the 35 days consecutive to his current sentence. All right, Mr. McLean, you had another client who was ready?
Right, for Mr. Hunt, I believe that's gonna be the ending day of May. Let's see, we did mention Mr. Ivy is ready for a not guilty and a bond request.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on that.
That's what 46 should be, the end of May.
All right, Deputy, we are ready to address Anthony Leroy Ivy.
Thank you.
Come on.
Okay, if I were a mathematician, I'd be a scientist, not a lawyer. Yep.
That's it. Hi.
All right, Mr. Anthony Ivy is positions 6 and 7 on the SAP calendar. He's charged with simple battery under accusation 23 CR 3096Y from October 6, 2022. He's got a bench warrant for failure to appear in court on September 27, 2023, and the bench warrant matter is 24 FTA 237. I understand that Mr. Ivy is planning to enter a not guilty plea. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Honor. On number 6, he is not guilty, and he's going to ask the court to forgive the number 7 failure to appear on September 27th last.
All right, sir. Do you waive a reading of the accusation, or do you plan to file a waiver of arraignment?
Your Honor, we can file a waiver of arraignment after court is over today. We have a copy of it.
All right. So position number 6, this is going to be a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Mr. Ivy has a $2,000 surety bond issued by Judge Edie for failure to appear in court. Yes, what's the grounds? Okay, basically, you said to forgive. So are you saying he's culpable without a reason?
Well, no, Your Honor, I'm just saying he's about to explain to the court why.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, Mr. Ivy.
Please tell the court why you did not appear on September 27th of last fall.
I've been living at my residence.
You got to speak up louder.
I've been living at my residence since 2022. And the incident happened at my residence at that time. And excuse me, I kind of short when I had a heart attack. But anyway,
He's saying that he's short of breath sometimes, Your Honor. He did have a heart attack within the last year, I believe it was. Last month.
Yeah, check out hospital.
So he does have
in reference to me missing the court date, I had provided Office of Public Defenders of Atlanta
the City of Atlanta Municipal Public Defender, Miss Amanda. I don't have her last name. I haven't been able to reach her yet. I found out this yesterday.
Yes, and I provided them with my mailing address as well as even when I got arrested, I provided my driving license, 532 Cleveland Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. A big apartment, 30315 zip code. At no time have I received any kind of notification to come to court. I would have been there.
Your Honor, I don't mean to interrupt the defendant, but the state does not object to lifting the bench warrant. We looked, there is a returned letter, and it does not have the apartment number. We looked at the bind over packet. The bind over packet at every stage has an apartment number attached. And so for whatever reason, the apartment number did not get placed on the letter of notice that went out and was returned to sender without the apartment number on it. So the state does not object.
Thank you. Mr. Ivy, so your case originated in the City Court of Atlanta, but your case is now actually with the State Court of Fulton County, 2 entirely separate courthouses. If you need to update your address, if you need to contact your public defender's office, if you need to have any business with the court in order to address this case, You do not go to the City Court of Atlanta, you go to the State Court of Fulton County. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to set aside your bench warrant. You are now on notice that your case is with the State Court of Fulton County, not with the municipal court.
Yes, ma'am. Apartment 5F, I live there, apartment 5F.
Well, we're going to update your address to make sure it includes the apartment number 5F.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Champion or Miss Grace, could you please make a note on Odyssey? That's his current address. But you need to understand that any business you have for this case now is with the state court. You don't go to the municipal court. Telling them is not notice to the state court. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, your case is further notice for trial. Please make sure that you keep up with your notices, because if you don't show back up in court for trial, you end up in the same spot.
I'll probably be up for the trial.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So Judge, are we giving him a bond?
No, I'm just setting aside the bench warrant,
Okay,
and we just need to update his address to include apartment 5F. Oh, it's already there. Okay, thank you. Mr. McLean, are you ready to address another case in the courtroom before you do your separate conversations?
Let's see, I believe, is Mr. Winfrey here? Mr. Winfrey, I believe, is a negotiated plea, Your Honor, and he is here in court.
Thank you.
Winfrey is on the add-on number 7.
Got it? This is State versus Mr. Willie Winfrey, case number 24 CR 951C, accused of theft by shoplifting from February 28, 2024. Mr. Winfrey, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. Can I get that case again?
Sure. 24 CR 000-951C.
Oh, no, the position number.
Oh, 7 on the add-on.
Okay. 7 on the add-on. Thank you. I was on the main calendar and just could not find that. Okay. 7 on the add-on. Okay. This is not Mr. Wright's count. This is not the correct calendar.
Willie Winfrey.
So many calendars. All right. So the recommendation on this is 12 months probation, serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. That's going to be from February 28th to March 14th of 2024. Balance probated in anti-theft course, 40 hours of community service, and stay away from the Publix located at 2900 Peachtree Road in Atlanta, Georgia. The state would ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and identification for the purposes of the plea.
For the purposes of the plea, we certainly do so stipulate.
All right. Mr. Winfrey, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Are you satisfied with the legal services you've received?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea, this will be a theft by shoplifting conviction on your record.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you accumulate 3 or more convictions, any subsequent arrests for the same offense will automatically be a felony charge. Are you still willing to move forward?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
If you decide to plead guilty, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to confront your accuser, to challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting?
Yes, sir, y'all.
I don't understand your response. How do you plead?
Yes, sir, y'all.
Repeat?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Guilty, okay. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, your jail time is concluded. You will report to probation next Thursday, which is March 21st, before 3 p.m. The probation office is located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you will complete an anti-theft class, and that must be completed within 30 days of being released. Or, excuse me, you must be enrolled in that class within 30 days of being released. So as by your second probation visit, you must show proof that you have enrolled in such a class. You're also to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service with any nonprofit agency that is not a church and not a school. You must begin the community service within 30 days of being released and complete at least 5 hours per month. At all times, you're to stay away from the Publix located at 2900 Peachtree Road in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Good to meet you. You're straight.
Yep.
Mr. McLean, do you have another case we can address?
I believe that the case marked Fields, I believe that's an ACDC. Fields says negotiated plea, so she would have spoken to and finished up with Attorney Vigilante, and I believe that would be ready. I don't really think I need to confirm anything with her if there's no glitch.
Okay. So you still have to confer with the other folks seated to your back?
I'll check on that, Your Honor. I'm not sure who else back there, but I'll double check in just a
All
moment.
right. Mr. Paul Bartel indicated he had a case he was going to address. Is he ready to address that?
That was just.
Here we go.
Yes, Your Honor. That was just Mr. Tony. I believe his case has already been reset. Is that correct?
We did reset
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's it.
So that was the only other matter? Okay.
Okay, great. Can I be excused then, Judge?
Yes, Mr. Bartel. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right, Mr. McLean, we'll be in recess until you are ready to address the cases.
Let me ask if Mr. Potter.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you're ready to go forward, or you need more discussion? I'm sorry? Your Honor, number 16 on the main calendar is ready. That likewise is a negotiated plea, and he believes that he sufficiently understands his conversation for him to go forward with the court.
This is position number 16 on the SAP calendar, main one, 24 CR 120D. Mr. Quinlan Potter is charged with criminal trespass and possession and use of a drug-related object. Mr. Potter, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Michael McLean. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, thank you. Just hold a minute. You may put your hand down. Mr. Dennis Murphy, please hold, and we will be addressing your cases shortly. All right. Okay. Ms. Falk, what is the recommendation for Mr. Potter?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months serve 116 days, credit for time served 58 days. That's going to be from January 6th to January 9th of 2024, and then again from January 21st to March 14th of 2024. Balance suspended, stay away from 111 Boulevard Northeast. Count 2 is going to be 12 months probation, concurrent to count 1. That's all for the state.
All right.
And we would ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea. And that address is the Circle K gas station.
Yes, they gave you
All
credit.
right.
So I go home? Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Yes, sir. I'll plead guilty. So he wishes the court, for the purposes of the plea, we stipulate to venue and identification and factual basis. Your Honor, he asked the court to accept his negotiated plea with the state.
And I'm sorry, you did stipulate, right, to factual basis, venue and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we
Okay.
do.
Mr. Potter, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am, not,
Have you understood what's going on in your case?
yes, ma'am, I just wanted to make one thing clear, what date was I being released, or am I being released?
You'll be released as soon as possible if nothing else is holding you.
Okay, well then, yes, ma'am, I plead guilty.
I don't know if you have any other cases holding you. I can check, but if you have no other cases holding you, then you'll be released within 24 hours. It can take up to 24 hours to be released. So if you don't have any other cases, then it will be up to 24 hours. Otherwise, it will be whenever you're released on any other cases.
Okay.
Do you have any other cases? Yes, Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, I just looked at the jail screen. There are no additional cases holding him at the jail. This was the only case that was holding him.
Okay, so it'll be up to 24 hours.
Your Honor, I have explained to him that the record room is doing its best, that they have to address the cases in a stack of papers as they come into them. And they will do their best to try to get him out within 24 hours. I have heard that sometimes it takes a bit more, so he's forewarned.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Potter, would you still like to move forward with this plea?
Yes, ma'am, this is for both the, criminal trespass and the, use of a drug-related item.
It's all one case, so yes, those are 2 counts within 1 case. So
Yes, ma'am, I
yes,
plead guilty
it's
to
not
that.
2 cases, it's just 1.
I plead guilty to that.
You
ma'am.
have 2 charges in 1 case. Are you satisfied with your legal services?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Is anyone forcing you to plead guilty today?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you plead guilty today, that will close the case out? You will not have a right to appeal this decision.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And you also not have a right to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You would not be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you for these charges, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass at the Circle K and 1 count of possession of a drug-related object?
Guilty, ma'am.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 116 days, credit for time served 58 days. Your jail time is concluded. As you have no other holds, you will be released within 24 hours. The remainder of the time is suspended. This case is closed. If you return to the Circle K gas station at 111 Boulevard Avenue, you will be arrested again, and we get to do this all over again.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Thank you. So stay away from that location. Okay.
I believe the same thing would be true of Mr. Let's see. Mr. Sweet is ready on his negotiated plea, Your Honor. That would be number 18 is the FTA, and number
18 and 19?
Right, number 19 is the main case.
Understood. Thank you. Justin Sweet has got a bench warrant in 24 FTA 238, failure to appear on July 7th, 2023. And he's got a DUI case under accusation 20 CR 2542, in which he's accused of DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, speeding, and possession of an open alcohol container from December 22nd, 2017. Mr. Sweet, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. May I place you under oath for purposes of this plea? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Correct, yes.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation on count 1, the DUI, is 12 months, serve 18 days, credit for time served 9 days. That's from March 6th to March 14th of this year. Balance probated, ADET, DUI risk reduction, a $300 fine, and 40 hours of community service. I do apologize. We omitted the victim impact panel, and we would ask for that as well. Hopefully that will not change the negotiated plea. Count 2, is 12 months probation concurrent with count 1. That's a $350 fine. And count 3 is 12 months probation with count 1, a $200 fine, for a total of 12 months probation, serve 18 days, credit for time served 9 days, balance probated, ADET, $850 fine, DUI risk reduction, victim impact panel, and 40 hours of community service. The state would ask the defense to stipulate to venue factual basis and identification for the purposes of the plea, and we are agreeing to null pros the position 18 upon the taking of this plea.
The VIP stands for Victim Impact Panel. It is statutorily required, and it was an inadvertent error the state is saying and leaving it off the sheet. It consists of watching a video that describes how families have suffered. And so it only costs less than $100, I think, to obtain that particular condition. Right, if you would write down the emergency person and phone on that sheet right there. Thank you. So do you understand everything? You had a sufficient discussion with your previous attorney yesterday? Correct. Okay, good. I think he's ready to move forward, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Falk, on the speeding offense, what is the speed to which he's pleading guilty?
Yes, Your Honor, let me pull that up. Let's see. Okay. The defendant was going 55 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone.
Okay, so that's 20 miles, so that's 2 points, I believe. Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
For the purposes of the plea, we do so stipulate.
All right, Mr. Sweet, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And with the addition of the victim impact panel requirement, are you still willing to move forward with the plea freely, willingly, and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you, if you decide to plead guilty to these charges, points are going to be added to your driving history. And if you collect 12 or more points on your driving history, that will trigger a license suspension. Are you aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you are pleading guilty to the driving under the influence of alcohol, that will trigger a license suspension that will be in effect for up to 12 months. Are you aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still willing to move forward with this case?
Yes, ma'am.
If you plead guilty to these charges, you will have to give up your rights to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not have the assistance of counsel to go back to court, confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought before you, present any defenses or arguments on your behalf, and have the state carry its burden to prove that the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of driving under the influence of alcohol less safe?
Guilty.
How do you plead to speeding 55 in a 35-mile-per-hour zone?
Guilty.
And how do you plead to possession of an open alcohol container?
Guilty.
Your sentence for the DUI is 12 months to serve 18 days, credit for time served 9 days, balance probated. You will report to probation next Thursday at 132 Mitchell Street before 3 p.m. That would be March 21st before 3 p.m. You will continue to report to probation every month, during which time you are to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment as required, a risk reduction program, and pay a $300 fine, complete 40 hours of community service with any nonprofit agency that's not a church and not a school, and attend and complete one victim impact panel. The alcohol and drug evaluation and the risk reduction must be started. In other words, you must get an appointment within 60 days of being released. For count 2 on speeding, it's going to be 12 months probation concurrent with count 1 with an additional $350 fine. For the possession of an open alcohol container is going to be 12 months probation concurrent with count 1 with an additional $200 fine. Your total fine is $850 plus probation fees, court costs, and surcharges. As I said, you will report to probation every month. Your community service must begin within 30 days of being released, and you must complete at least 5 hours per month. Any questions about your sentence, Mr. Sweet?
No, ma'am.
Your bench warrant will be null crossed. Thank you.
With that word haven, I could read the writing.
That's correct. If you need a list of, community service that I'll be able to do online. Vigilante, you mentioned that yesterday during our conversation.
Okay.
Do I get that from our?
Are we on mute yet?
No. Mr. Murphy, yes, we have, we have that competency calendar with you,
Yes, Judge.
all right? And, with regards to, Orion Kaplan,
He made bail.
okay, so he's been released and that's further notice,
Yes.
while I gather. Then your
And
other
he's in-
case, yes,
And yes, Mr. Kaplan is in North Carolina now, so hopefully he'll be getting treatment.
okay.
And I have Jay Reed.
The other case is Jay Reed. So, we're gonna address that very shortly. If you just give me a moment, I'll just get a status on the SAP. We've been starting a little late, we're a little short-staffed, so,
I'll stand by.
all right. Mr. McLean, are we ready to address anyone else in courtroom 2?
Let's see, who else we got thinks they're ready? What's your name? Hill, did you talk to Vigilante sufficiently?
Talked to him yesterday.
Are you doing the plea today? Okay. What's your name? McCommons, okay. What's your case? I believe you were 30, what days? 31 or 35? We discussed that, okay. Your Honor, we're ready on Mr. McCommons, who is a probation case. He is sitting next to me now. The probation department is going to recommend a revocation of a certain number of days, and we have discussed that.
Okay, this is State versus Jermaine M. McCommons, position number 4 on the probation revocation calendar. His case number is 20 CR 001-851-815B, in which he was convicted of simple battery family violence. And his probation violation case number is 24 PV 318. Mr. McCommons, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Mrs. Allen, you've been placed under oath. What is the reason for the revocation, and what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, the defendant failed to complete random drug screens. The defendant has never reported to our office. It's 31 days remaining on his case. At this time, probation recommends for his balance to be revoked.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, that since that is the balance, it would be amiss of me not to ask the court to consider the possibility of cutting that in half under the theory that sitting there for a certain number of days, think about this, will be about as effective as 31 or 30 days.
Okay, let me see. He has been in custody for 4 days? As of March, no, that would be incorrect. I think it's 10 days.
10
He's been
days.
in custody for 10 days. He is got a $6,000 signature bond for a new offense of criminal trespass, and he has never reported to probation. I'm struggling to find a reason why.
Want to talk to the judge? Speak up.
Yes, Your Honor. I just had a little hardship. When I got my probation, I was going through the corona thing and my mother, she passed. I had a situation with my wife, lost her, and it just was a hard time, nowhere to stay, not making no excuses, but it was a hard time, just getting back on my feet, working.
Uh-huh.
Probably that job right now as of this situation, but trying to get
But then
some-
you got arrested again on March 5th.
Yeah, get trespass.
So if we didn't arrest you, then we would never have been able to catch you. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your
You've been
Honor,
in custody for 10 days. I'll give you credit for the 10 days, and there's no doubling that time. Your probation's revoked, and you will serve out the remainder of the 21 days, after which you'll be released on the signature bond. I don't know if that's through pretrial or through the jail. Do you know, Mr. McLean?
I do not. I just saw his
24, 20. I don't know what's his new case number, but he's got a signature bond. So after 21 days, he can be released. This case will be closed and all obligations would have been served.
Understood, Your Honor.
It looks like it's through the jail, Your Honor, because we don't have him
Okay.
listed.
What do you
All right.
want?
So he has a $6,000 signature bond through the jail. And after completing an additional 21 day for day, no 2 for 1, then he'll be done with regards to this case. And I'm giving him credit for 10 days. Thank you. Do you have another case ready, Mr. McLean?
I believe there's a Mr. Hill coming up to the seat, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Is,
Let's
That's
find him on the counter and see. He says he's ready, so he's obviously discussed it with another attorney.
patient. Quite a few calendars over here. Just want to make sure that
We have so many calendars today.
I'm telling you, you drove the short straw today, Mr. McLean.
I think we'll
Right. And what's his last name again, please?
Hill, Hill.
Miss Champion, could you tell me what calendar he's on? Or if you have a case number. Add on.
This is Grace, Judge. I don't see a Mr. Hill on none of the calendars.
Your Honor, I've gone through all 3 calendars as well, and I can't see it either.
There's a Perry Hill on the competency calendar, number 3. Is this Perry Hill?
Yeah, must be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's number 3 on the competency calendar.
Thank you.
That's a calendar that is not done in public court.
Mr. Perry Hill was on our 11 a.m. competency calendar. And based on the information from Mr. Bartel, who has already been excused from court, his case is going to be reset for a plea on March 21st.
Very good. That's 1 week from today, Mr. Hill. We'll be right back in court.
Thank you. Any other cases, Mr. McLean? I'm just trying to see if I can address all the cases, then.
If we may mute for a moment, Your Honor, I'll ask if there's anybody here that is on this list.
All right, I'm going to step out into a breakout while you get an assessment. All right, thank you. Miss Grace, could you place me, Miss Falk, and Dennis Murphy in a breakout session? Miss Burgess, would you like to join us?
If I can, if you need me to, Your Honor.
All right, please, thank you. All right, it'll be the four of us. Thank you. All right, we'll be joining breakout room. All right, I think Mr. McLean is conferring now with the individuals in the courtroom. So we'll be in recess until Mr. McLean is ready to address the rest of the cases in courtroom 2. Miss Grace, we can pause the live stream while we are waiting on Mr. McLean. Thank you.